the thing about business credit, like you can do one or two ways. You can either go the route with no PG, and PG means personal guarantor, or you can go the route where you can utilize you can actually personally guarantee your business. And that just basically means that if this account goes into default, I will personally make sure to pay it back. If my business is no longer profitable, net 30, thank you so much, Tiffany. If my business is no longer profitable, then I guarantee that I will be able to pay the debt, right? Because that's where a lot of people like business credit, because it's not tied to you personally. So if your business goes under and you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in business funding and loans and debt, right? And you file bankruptcy under that business, then that business doesn't have to pay the debt back. But if I personally guaranteed it, even if that business failed, then I am obligated to pay the debt back. So if you have good personal credit, then you can, go apply, like when you set up a business bank account, you can go apply for those business accounts at your local bank or a credit union. So Truist or maybe Federal, right? And then once you build up your business credit, then you can apply for another credit account where you're not personally guaranteed and it's solely off of your business credit and your business income.
Okay. So I basically opened up a bank account with Novo. I don't know if you've heard of them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, those are good. So those are like online banks. So basically like a fintech bank. They are not the ones like, how can I say it? I don't know the proper way to just like the name for it, but basically like these online banks, right? Even Cash App is not like they have an actual physical bank that takes care of all of the funding and their back end systems. That's just like the front name of it. So same thing like Novo. Novo is just an online bank, but they're not their actual financial institution they're backed by could be like another bank. It could be like Bank of Wyoming, right? But they partnered with Novo, and Novo gets clients and they get clients, and it's all good. So no, that's totally good one, right? But if you are desiring to build business credit, you want to just look to see what kind of options that they offer, like what does their business credit accounts offer? What do they look like, right? You want to just try to see like, how can I also benefit from this relationship? Because they're benefiting. Anytime the money's in the account, they're able to maximize it for their potential. But you want to just make sure that you're also positioning your funds so that way you can maximize from it as well. So I'm not too sure what their credit options are, but I would definitely take a look at it. Or other local banks. And like there's different tiers of banks, right? Like you have like your local banks, right? Like not your big box banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, right? Those are like top tier banks to where all of them are going to have a certain qualification that you must meet. And you put the information in to go through the system, and it's either going to spit out a yes or a no, right? And so you want to build up to be able to get qualified for those accounts. But you do that by setting up net 30s, net 60 accounts with like a Uline, Office Depot, Amazon, and then start with like your small credit unions, and you start with your small, local banks. And then you build up.
Okay, just another thing, it's about hiring.
Yeah.
So starting out, I mean, I've never done this, hired anybody. So just going by the course, like do this, do that. How long does the hiring process take? Like honestly, when you put out an ad, get responses back, is it like forever or to start? So
the unfortunate part about this type of business is like there's no set time frame of when things are done, right? Even with me physically doing the things, like I said, it's really no set time frame. I remember I was hiring for a company in Miami, and like literally within a couple of hours, I hired 3 people. That was the fastest I've ever hired. That's why I don't never use that example, because it's unrealistic. It was just pick of the draw, right? I don't know like what favor that I had that day. And then I was hiring for a company in California, and I'm like literally making calls and sending out messages every single day, 4 hours out the day. And I hired 1 person, right? So
Yeah.
it's really no set time. The thing about the hiring part is like, no matter how long it takes you to find cleaners, it's all in the matter of being consistent. We're trying to hire for another company right now in Milwaukee. And I mean, goodness, that VA is like trying every single avenue, like, and I can see all the calls and text messages. I know she's reaching out to so many people. And even out of all those people that she's reached out to, she's spoken to some. She started the onboarding process for some. And only 2 came out of that and actually like completed their onboarding, right? But now, she's going back for more. She's going back for more, and she's still following up with the same thing. It's really like a numbers game. Like you may call 100 and only end up with 4 or 5. So it's really no time frame. It's just a matter of just staying consistent. Even if you reach out to them, if you reach out to them and they don't answer, don't respond or text back, reach out to them again, follow up again, call them again. Because you just never know when they're going to respond. And then maybe, be a little clickbaitish and change your initial response. I know we were in a bind for a company now, in my message that I sent out, I sent a text message to every single past potential cleaner that we reached out to. And it was like, hey, you guys, I have an emergency cleaning that needs to be done tomorrow morning. And like, it was a real job, right? I wasn't going to assign this to them because that's going to be crazy. But it was like, hey, guys, I have an emergency job tomorrow morning. Who has availability? The 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $400, right? Oh my goodness. All of them was responding.
Yeah.
All of them was like, what? Okay, I'm available.
That money.
Oh, so my texts are coming through, right?
Yeah.
So just kind of just converted that into a conversation. I think out of that, we were able to bring in 2 new cleaners from that situation, but it's really just a matter of like doing the things, testing out, staying consistent, and changing it up. Like, okay, if this approach is not working, let me try to change it to this approach. If this verbiage is not working, let me change this verbiage.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm just gonna do that then.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. Like you could have everything set up, and now on this part of hiring people, that's something else. And then finding new clients as well, that's gonna be something else. So
Yeah. No, definitely.
yeah, it's a process.
It is a process. It is definitely a process.
Yeah. All right. That's what I had.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, let's see. I have one question. I found you on social media page where cleaning companies, I found a social media page where cleaning companies are partnering with each other and solo cleaners to complete projects. They post jobs when they are shorthanded, emergency jobs. I'm seeing the opportunity to reach out to solo cleaners to hire on, but is there a way that you can think of to take on working with another cleaning company and still make a profit? I'm thinking the would be too many slices in the pie. So to be honest, would you consider doing? To be honest, that is exactly who and the type of cleaner that I am looking for. Now, it's not in the senses of like camaraderie like that, right? I know that there's a local Facebook group in Dallas to where like they will post jobs if they can't make it or an emergency or they need a helper, right? So the thing about it is just trying to find the right fit, because my ideal cleaner is a solo cleaner. And my ideal cleaner, even better, has some teams under her. So that means I'm like getting 5 for the price of 1. Are there different challenges that come along with that kind of scenario? Oh, yes, there is. But that is ideal what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the solo cleaner that already has experience, that knows what products to use, that know how to clean a house, that knows, like, because that helps curate a better experience for my clients versus somebody that's like, they don't know what they're doing. They just needed a job to make some money in between time for the meantime. But ideally I am looking for the solo cleaner. So that's why I do go look on Facebook Marketplace, inside of Facebook groups, on Craigslist. Like I'm looking at where they are advertising their services, where they are looking for clients. Because ideally how this works in the perfect world, right? Because technically we are a referral agency. We're just the middleman, right? And our job as the middleman is to find the perfect cleaner and find the perfect client and marry them together. And we collect the difference for finding these two perfect people and providing this service, right? So, whatever you decide for your pays, if you're paying 50%, 60%, you just let them know what prices you're paying, and they get either that cleaner would get 50% or 60%. Now that does change when you do find a cleaner that has teams under them. But with that part, you're not really in control of that part. With that part, you let that owner know like, hey, this is how much I'm paying. Then it's up to her to dish out however much she's paying, each cleaner. Like I said, there's some different challenges that come along with that kind of a scenario, such as you want to always make sure that you know exactly which cleaner you're sending to the job. So that way, if you ever do a follow-up call and you be like, hey, Mr. Gary, I just want to check to see how Tiffany was with your cleaning service. And she's like, Tiffany wasn't here. We had an Amanda. And you don't know who your people are. You don't know who you're sending to my house. Does she even work for you guys? Right? It's like, it turns into a whole thing. Okay. I've been on calls like that. So you want to always make sure to know who exactly is going to the house. Also, if you are requiring insurance, then you also want to make sure that you get a copy of those cleaners' insurance. Whoever is going to those homes to provide the service, you're going to need a copy of their insurance. It won't be just enough to get the owners unless they already have it. Now, if they already had, that insurance, awesome, right? And then also, if you're going the extra step per that insurance video, then you're also asking those cleaners to put your company on that list as well. So that way your company is really, really protected. Same with background checks. If you are requiring the background checks from cleaners, then you want to find out who all from that person are you going to be sending to do cleanings, because I need to run a background check. Unless you have a copy and you ran a background check in less than 30 days, please provide me with your copy. So ideally, yes, that is exactly how I like to look for cleaners. I like to look for experienced cleaners that are advertising their services, that's having a hard time finding clients, because I'm finding the clients, right? Can you briefly describe the challenges, because I was considering, oh, okay, hey, so I hope that kind of talked about it. Like the main challenge is you want to make sure that you get the background check and the insurance from each person that's going to be on site. And then the main thing is you want to make sure that you know who is going to show up to the home. Now, it can also get some other challenges, as in with booking Koala. Okay, so if they're using booking Koala and you require on BK for the customer signature, right? Or you're requiring for the well, I guess uploading photos is not, because they can just send the owner the photos and they can upload the photos, but the signature, right? Like if you really, really are strong on getting that signature from the client, then they're not going to have the app, right? Unless you don't, because what happens is the owner doesn't want them to see how much they're getting paid for the job, because then they're going to be like, yo, you only gave me like, a little 10 piece. Okay. So unless you want to just remove the fact that cleaners can see how much they're getting paid, then they probably won't mind them being able to access it. But then you have to make some other changes, because they're probably not going to want to see them, allow them to see them snagging jobs either, because then they'll be like, they're going to leave me to go work with you. So then you'll have to remove and not allow them to see jobs. So it's like, that's that whole rigmarole. It's just like a little dance you have to play. But it can be done. It can totally be done, right? Another option you can do is you could add those cleaners individually on your BK and make those arrangements for them to where like they can't see jobs that's open, they can't see the pay. But they actually be able to have and be logged in into BK, so that way they can get the client's signature after the cleaning appointment. So yeah, that's the part. What's a good area, city size to establish a cleaning business? You know, I don't really know. I don't really know a good area or good city size. Because I think that's a lot of variables. With that, I feel like any city and state or size, any area or city size could be a potential good area, right? You just want to just look at, like, when I'm trying to determine, and then this is also provided in the challenge, and then also if you look up like market research in this, and I break it down much more. But you want to just look at, like, I try to find out who my client is, right? If I can find out who my client is, and then I can find out where my client lives, then that's the area that I want to market, right? So I'm looking at income levels. I'm looking at school zones, the level of their school zones. Is it a top tier? Is it a medium? Like, do they have books, right? So those are indicators. And basically I'm using these things that have to do with income because I need to know they're going to be able to afford my prices, right? Are they going to haggle me down, or they're going to like pay the price and then drop a good tip for the cleaner? So I look at income price, school districts, household, not household income, I said that, the cost of the house, cost of living. So I'm using all of those things to determine my market. And then, yeah, I just test it out. Like, we have a company that's located, and also a couple of students that's located in Charlotte, right? And I was so surprised how banging that area is. Like, oh my goodness, like they are busy. And then we also have another client that's in Houston, and we're like struggling trying to keep consistency in her business. And y'all know Houston's kind of big, right? And there's some big suburban areas in Houston as well. So it's really hard to say. And then also, if you guys are in an area to where like you're feeling like you're not really getting a lot, or your business are not really growing a lot, you're not getting the income or the consistency or reoccurring clients, don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to try another area. That Houston location, we're about to try it out in another area. Like, we're not giving up there, but we're going to try it in another area and see how well it can do in another market, in a Dallas market, in an Austin market, San Antonio market, because there's the flexibility that you have with this business is too much for us to feel like we have to stay here because I live here. Okay. So let me take one more question, and I hope that gave you some clarity. Take one more question and then we will wrap it up. Let's see. If using subcontractors, what would be the pay structure percentage for teams of 2 cleaning a large home? So with any team that's larger, so basically whatever that percentage half is. So if you're doing a 60-40 split, right? You keep 40, they keep 60, then they would get 30-30. Okay, if it's 50% split, you keep 50 and you're paying your cleaners 50, then they will get 25-25, because essentially they are splitting up the workload, right? So you would split that percentage in half. So instead of that person cleaning a 3,000 square feet house, now she's only really cleaning a 1,500 square feet house, right? So however much you would get paid for cleaning a 1,500 square feet house is going to be about the same when you have to split that percentage. Now it kind of gets a little, more challenging when you have to go up to 3 to 4 cleaners, but yeah, 2 is just splitting. Hey, Jasmine, my business is in New York, and I got requests from Florida. Is that okay if I look for a cleaner to get? Yeah, I mean, now, I mean, I'm like, yeah, girl, get that money. Okay, get the bag. But no, the only challenging part would be taxes, you know. Now, if you're like, I'm just dibbling dabbling trying to figure it out, okay, do the thing, test it out. But you would essentially have to file taxes in the state and county that you are making money from, because they're gonna want their money. And then you also have to let New York know that I'm doing business out there as well. So it can get complicated with the taxes, but like this is like just a one-off, and you're like, I don't know how this slipped up in here, then you know, go ahead. Good questions tonight, you guys. Okay, let me take one more. I'll take one more question and then we will wrap it up. Where's my water?
Yes, I have a question with to do
Yeah.
with touching 2 or 3 workers, or sorry, not workers, cleaners.
So
How
that,
do
so the
you do
beginning one more time.
that? Dispatching the cleaners to like a big house. Like, how do you do that if you only have like 2, 3 cleaners and they have other jobs and you have a job
Yeah.
that needs like 3 people because people have big houses? How do you do
Yeah.
that?
So it's a scheduling headache, especially if you don't have a lot of cleaners, because basically you have to just make sure that they are all available to do that job. That's specifically why I personally did not like to do large homes. Like my sweet spot is 3,000 square feet max. I'll do a 3,500 square feet, but I'll do a 3,500 square feet, but my sweet spot is like 3,000 square feet. I don't really want to do anything over than that. But we do have a company. She's located in Atlanta, and she services a lot of big houses. So she could sometimes have 4 to 5 cleaners. Basically, she does anything over 2,500 square feet. You send out 2 cleaners. And then, so for 3,000 square feet, they recommend 3 cleaners. For 4,000 square feet, they recommend 4 cleaners. For 5,000 square feet, they recommend 5 cleaners.
Yeah.
But she does have a really big team as well, and she's been more established. So they're kind of used to that, and they're kind of used to like being paired up without knowing anybody. Like they'll just assign, hey, like, you know, like, hey, you, Brittany, Emily, Jessica, like y'all go, here's your cleaning, right? So yeah, that's how
When it
she's
comes to
done it. And I've never done it until like me helping and working with her and being able to see the behind the scenes just allowed me to like to understand that dynamic more, because I've never done it.
Yeah. So do you recommend setting out not to like take on big homes and all that stuff because we don't have the cleaners to do that kind of work?
I would if because you don't want it to get into anything like that you're not prepared to, right? Even though like, oh, big house, big money, but you all that person with that big money and big house, they also don't want one cleaner cleaning their house for 10 hours either. You know what I mean? So find your limits and find like what size you're comfortable with. And also ask your cleaners too, you guys. Ask your cleaners, like, how comfortable are they with cleaning large homes? Because they'll let you know. They'll be like, no, I'd rather just do small houses under 2,000 square feet. Or
Yeah.
some will be like, oh, I don't mind doing a big house. And some will be like, you know, yes, I want to do a big house with a team. And then some will be like, no, I want to do a big house by myself, right? I'm fast, sufficient, I can get it done. And, you know, we'll be like, okay, let's test it out and see how, you know, how it works. But know your limits and also your availability, and then ask your cleaners like what they're comfortable with.
Okay. Thanks.
We had a cleaner, she took, not like me, this is for another company, she took 3 hours cleaning a bathroom, y'all. She didn't even get to the rest of the house. The client was like, she's taking too long. I'm afraid how long she's going to take in my kitchen. And she was like, I want to just end service and pay for it for what it, you know, for what the work she's done. So, you know, just be mindful and ask your cleaners, like, you know, and then when we asked her, she was like, well, I don't even like to do big houses. I'm like, girl, you did the bathroom. What are you talking about? So, you know, just having that dialogue with them.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. I had a mini mansion. Yes, I'm in neighborhoods where I've seen groups of 4 to 5 cleaners. I've always wondered how they pay. Yeah. I feel like in scenarios like that, right, because they are sending so many cleaners, they're going to have to pay more. So I'm setting up that companies, I'm restructuring their pricing, and I'm setting up their booking koala. And basically how I'm doing it is so that, like you can set up your service types, right? So I'm setting it up to where if somebody books a job and they select that their house is 3,000 square feet, then there'll also be an option for them to select how many cleaners that they want, 2 to 3 cleaners, right? She said she'll take a 2 cleaners or 3 cleaners recommended, but they'll do 2 cleaners, right? So if somebody selects that they have a 3,000 square feet, it'll set it off to where how many cleaners will pop up, right? If they select that their house is 4,000 square feet, then it'll pop up to where they could get 3 to 4 cleaners, right? And basically every additional cleaner costs an additional $70 on top of the flat rate. So if it's 1 cleaner, it's 70. If it's 2 cleaners, it's 140, right? And it goes up from there. So that's how her pricing is definitely more unique. I had to work with her because she's came from like the hourly mindset. And that's not really that well to grow from. So changing her pricing structure to that, to where like I could combine flat rate still with, how many cleaners she does send out to that job. So that's where like the extra pay would come in. So that way you can pay the extra people. And essentially with having 4 to 5 people, that job time is getting cut down so fast. So that same group can go do another house in that same day. Yes, I will definitely do that. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, you guys. Bridget, did you send that message on email or in Circle? 'Cause I thought I caught up on my emails, but I could have missed it.
Hi, no, I sent it through Messenger. I don't think I have your email.
Oh, like through Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
Okay, I'll definitely check.
I have a quick question before you go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there a video inside the CEO platform for Gusto?
So there's not really a video for Gusto. I've been trying to figure out how I can make one. And I think I'm gonna have to set up like a whole brand new account. Because the only reason why I don't have a video for Gusto is because when I go into Gusto, it shares like the cleaner's private information, and I didn't want it to be shown on video. So that's the only reason why I don't have a Gusto video, because of for like privacy factors. But I may have to like create a brand new account and like fluff it like that. I will do something like that. Let me write that down so I won't forget.
Okay, that's fine. I think I'll be okay. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just gonna try to get through it.
It is, and they do have chat customer service as well. It's just really about making sure that you have all your information up front, because they're going to ask for the copies of all of your business information, your account numbers, and all of those things. That'll make it much easier to get that verification done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, last 2 questions in the chat. Jazz, what is it like for this business in the wintertime? Summer is ending soon, and I want to know if people still demand residential. So one thing is having reoccurring cleanings definitely help bridge the gap for slow seasons. Okay. But in the midst of your slow seasons, you'll still have like your holidays, right? So you'll still have that holiday time, but that's one reason why you really want to focus on the reoccurring to help with that. Now, one thing is like, we're out, COVID is hopefully not coming back, right? So people still do have gatherings and still need their house cleanings. I mean, we dipped down a little bit in the winter time, but not much. And that was like without me having reoccurrings. And then when I had reoccurrings, it just really just bridged the gap from like busy season to slow season. But then it picks right back up in January in like springtime. And then like, it's back to how it was. And then like, depending on where you live, like if you live in a heavy snow area, then that's when you maybe look to subsidize with other add-on services like snow removal. That's super, super big. I know Kendall talks about that as well, unlike how he kills it with snow removal. And he does the same way, like he finds people with these snow removal machines and like they provide the service, not you doing the servicing of that snow removal. Okay. Good questions, though, you guys. All right, you guys, I appreciate you guys so much for sticking in here, for joining us. I will be back on next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys have any follow-up questions or any questions at all, please feel free to drop them in Circle, or also send me a message. Sorry, or send me a message, and we'll definitely get back to you guys. So have a good one, and I'll see you guys later. All right. Oh, and I will post a replay tomorrow morning. So for those that came on late, you guys will be able to see the replay tomorrow morning. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night, Tiffany.